Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Lenore Zuck Hughes, 1966, Pacific Ocean Islands Vacation Diary, Part 3, and this is the last part of that diary. March 19th, 1966, Sydney, Australia. The news this morning about Jakarta is bad. The airport there is closed, so we may not get to Bali. Right now, we are on our way to Sydney, where we will contact the airline that should take us to Jakarta to see what we do next. We are flying over the Great Barrier Reef. The weather is fine, and the reef is really beautiful. Dale got some movies of it. We arrived in Sydney in the late afternoon, and we were paged before we got through customs. A guide met us in a car and gave us a letter of welcome. We felt like kings. Hotel Australia had our reservation, and Dale confirmed our tickets for Jakarta on Monday with Qantas Airline. So we'll get to go to Indonesia after all. We saw the wrecks of 2 sunken ships on coral reefs long before we came to Great Barrier Reef. March 20th, 1966. This is a day of rest, so we are catching up on letter writing and resting. We had a long walk this morning and stopped by 3 churches, 1 Catholic, 2 Anglican Church of England. The weather is bright and beautiful, 72 degrees. We walked about 4 miles, seeing the sights close by the hotel. No theaters are open in Sydney on Sunday. We took a bus ride in the afternoon out to the St. George River. Had a nice visit with the bus driver who told us the sharks come in from the sea to breed in these brackish rivers when the water temperature is warm, 72 degrees. 3 weeks ago, a white shark got a boy in about 2.5 feet of water. When they pulled him out, the shark still had hold of his leg. The shark was 7 feet long. The boy will recover. White sharks are the killers. March 21. Sydney to Jakarta, 3,554 miles. 33,000 feet altitude, Qantas 707 jet. We are picked up this morning by chauffeur in an air-conditioned limousine, the best yet. This plane is a beauty. Only 29 passengers are aboard, and the flight to Jakarta will take 7.25 hours non-stop. We are flying over the outback region of Australia now, nothing but plains and desert. We will fly over Alice Springs, and perhaps we shall see Ayers Rock. The Millers came all the way out here just to see the rock. We had a fine lunch. Kangaroo tail soup, breast of turkey with potatoes and Brussels sprouts, hot roll, peach melba, cheese, and crackers. We appreciate this luxury after New Guinea. Had a letter from the studio this morning before we left the hotel saying everything is fine. We just passed the island of Bali and could see the volcano sticking its head above the cloud. The visibility is good. We lose 3 hours on this flight. We arrived in Jakarta right on time, and our travel agent was there to meet us before we got through customs. He took our health certificates, got us right through. None of our luggage was opened. The army was everywhere with rifles, revolvers, submachine guns, but everyone was extra friendly. We went with our Nye tour agent in a private car to Hotel Indonesia, a 14-story building. Our room is air-conditioned. We went through barbed wire barricades on the way to town, saw soldiers everywhere, all with guns. They have a curfew law here. No one is allowed on the streets after 9 at night until 6 in the morning. We had no trouble getting money exchange. The bank rate is 15 rupees for $1 US. Our guide gave us 30, the boy who brought us ice 45, and even our room boy was ready to do business with us. We had a letter from Brickner asking us to get him a gong. We are on our way to Bali now, hope to make connections with Mr. Windia when we arrive. We have been treated wonderfully in Jakarta, better than any of the previous places we have visited. March 22nd. Bali, Dupasar, turbojet from Jakarta, 1 hour 55 minutes. Weather fine. We arrived in Bali around 10:30, and the same guide was at the airport that we had in 1961. We could see the new jet airstrip and the new Bali Beach Intercontinental Hotel, 10 stories, that are in the making. We went to the Bali Hotel in Dupasar and checked in, had lunch, fine, and met Mr. Windia. Dale gave him $210 and $20 for Brickner, Upper Sandusky, 3,300 rupees of their new money at the bank rate of 15 for $1. Dale gave him all the things we had bought him: 2 wristwatches, a carton of cigarettes, pencils, soap, a knife, 5 large bars of chocolate, chewing gum, and candy. He wants us to send him 2 typewriter ribbons airmail. Windia brought us the 4 cherry panels he had carved and asked us to visit his home. So he went in the car with us on our afternoon tour. The panels he carved are simply beautiful, and we will carry them with us, 2 in my case and 2 in Dale's. Windia's home was very primitive, and we were most surprised at the few carved pieces he had to show us. He gave us coconut milk to drink. We stayed about an hour at his home, met his family, decided to skip the Ketchuk dance and go back to Dupasar, and move to the Sinai Beach Hotel, as tomorrow is their Holy New Year day, and no cars are allowed anywhere, no fires. The parades we have seen were so colorful. We saw a cockfight and a barong dance. Everything is decorated, the temples, and everyone is dressed for the occasion. A parade came by our hotel on the beach to put the evil spirits into the sea. This is the Balinese New Year, with many festivals, parades, etc. And tomorrow no one is allowed to drive or have fire or lights. This has been a tremendous day. The people are so friendly. They were glad to see us. There are only 6 tourists at the Bali Hotel in Dupasar, and only Dale and I at the beach hotel. Quite a few of the workmen who are building the new Bali Beach Intercontinental Hotel stay at the beach hotel. The sunset was lovely, and I'm sure it is cooler here than in town. The tide is out, and the sea is almost out to the reefs. This is the same hotel we visited when we were in Bali in 1961. There is no trick to the carving they do here. Windia showed us his tools, many chisels, and all done by hand the slow way. March 23rd. We went to bed at 7 o'clock last night, so we awakened with the dawn. There don't seem to be any mosquitoes here, and we are glad we changed hotels. Our beds are good, have the nets from the ceilings over them, and Dale sprayed good with a bug bomb we got in Sydney before we went to bed. Our dinner was fine. No trouble with the food this visit. The huge volcano is a beautiful sight this morning. We have a fine view of it. We went swimming twice today, gathered shells, sat in the shelter house patio right on the beach, and watched the sights. The cutest little naked youngsters have played on the beach all day. We went to a religious ceremony with our boy, who waits on us at the table. I wrote this by coal oil lamp. No electricity at the hotel. He dressed in full Balinese costume for it. It was held at his home. We walked about a mile to get there, and it was interesting. We met all his family. When we returned, we watched the women come down to the beach to swim. They walked in the water, naked to the waist, took off their sarongs, and sat down in the water. There was that instant when they were stark naked. No one thinks anything of it. We walked down to the new hotel that will be complete the 1st of June. It will be deluxe. House 350 guests, is fully air-conditioned, gorgeous swimming pool, the works. We will have to return to try it out. March 24th. We were to take off at 11:20 a.m., but we were in the Denpasar airport waiting for the plane to come in. We should be in the air by 3:30 p.m. We came through a deluge coming to the airport. I don't see how our driver could see. The natives were carrying banana leaves for umbrellas. We enjoyed our morning at the beach hotel. As we ate our breakfast, Dale spied the natives walking along the beach with huge baskets of sand on their heads. Dozens of natives carrying sand for fill at the new hotel. The outrigger canoes were all hauling sand, too. This hotel is being built by slave labor nearly. These natives get 9 rupees per 1 liter of sand. 30 baskets will make 1 liter, and they walk at least 1 mile to and 1 mile back with their heavy loads. We went to the art shop near the hotel and bought 4 lovely carvings for $16 US. And Windia and his 4 children and wife came to our hotel and brought another lovely carving, so we will try to carry them with us in our bag. We aren't overweight yet. We are having another downpour now. As we rode through the palm tree forests on our way out here with torrents of rain coming down, we couldn't help but enjoy the eerie sight it was. We used the last of Lynn Crawford's gift to us, Cutty Sark Scotch, this noon before our lunch. We waited at the airport until 3:30, then got word the plane would not land because of weather, but we think because only 2 of us are to fly out. We are going back to Bali Hotel for the night. March 25th. First thing this morning we checked with the Garuda airline office to change our flight out of Jakarta. We were up at 6 o'clock, had breakfast at 7, airport office at 7:45, and now are ready to leave for the airport, as our plane is supposed to leave at 1300 hours. The sky still looks a bit rainy. We haven't wasted a minute. We met Sutia, the man who works in the post office that Merle knows. He went with us to the government art shop, and we bought 5 fine carvings, a lion head, an ebony bird, a sawa wood bird, a light wood head of a woman, and a light wood woman with a mirror. Sutia will package and mail these to us. Dale paid him $25 US. This paid for carvings, packing, and postage. He visited quite a while then. Mr. Windia happened by and visited. Dale gave Sutia $10 US so that he can send Merle some carvings. He gave us 14 rupees for $1 US. Dale could have gotten 30, but this gave Sutia a chance to make a little. Dale canceled our flight to Singapore in exchange for one to Hong Kong, so perhaps we can get back on our schedule. We left Bali at 1:30, really went through some thunderheads, landed at Wanaka, where there were 22 two-engine Air Corps jets and 8 fighter jets, also about 10 helicopters. We had trouble with the plane, so after all we loaded, and so hot we could hardly stand it. We waited a half hour on the takeoff end of the runway while the crew repaired the plane. Finally, we took off in the rain at 3:30. We had our fingers crossed, for we didn't want to spend the night in Wanaka. When we landed in Jakarta, Mr. Bambang, our tour guide, was waiting for us. He took us to Garuda ticket office and got a flight to Hong Kong confirmed for Saturday. We will be back on our schedule. We are glad to have had our extra day in Bali, even though hotels are pretty poor. Mr. Bambang has surely been wonderful to us, stays right with us until everything is arranged and done more than he needs to make us feel welcome and comfortable. He brought me a beautiful saring of batik material, enough for a dress as a gift. He is 24 years old, would like to have us write to him. He will come at 5:30 tomorrow morning to take us to the airport. We're at Hotel Indonesia, Jakarta, the best hotel we have had so far. March 26th. Flying to Hong Kong via Manila. We arrived at the airport at 6:30, cleared customs, and are ready to go at 7:30. The repair crew is working on one of the jet engines, and now our departure time will be 9 o'clock a.m. We went in an art shop in the airport to look at paintings, and Dale found a beauty, $13 US. Dale got 50 rupees for $1 US, a very good rate. Jakarta is quieting down now, not nearly so many soldiers around, and the curfew has been changed from 11 o'clock p.m. to 4:30 a.m. Believe me, when we looked out at 1:30 this morning, not a soul was anywhere to be seen on the streets. We arrived at 3:30 in Hong Kong and came to the hotel with the Hilton Hotel car. We couldn't let the travel agency know our flight had been changed to Garuda. Our room is fine, and it is good to be clean again. March 27th and 28th. The weather in Hong Kong is cloudy and cool, very. We started shopping right away. I got a silk and wool dress, a raw silk suit, and a brocade dress with jacket at Kung Brothers. Also a lovely pearl and gold bracelet I bought after looking other places. We bought 24 pairs of gloves, beaded, a sweater for Estelle and Madeline, 3 sweaters for myself, 2 pearl and silver pins for Mom and Lizzie, 3 strands of covered pearls, 2 ivory figures, a pearl bracelet for Pink, 2 pearl rings. We really had a ball. Hong Kong, without a doubt, is a shopper's paradise. No place else in the world is like it. We ride second class on the ferry over to Kowloon for 2 cents. We like it better than the first class deck. No steps to walk up and down. Dale had a gong 16 inches sent to Darrell Brickner, a $13 US for mailing and everything. We sent Evelyn pearls for a double necklace, a short opera length. We are taking the clasp with us, so her duty will be only 5%. Dale got a back for the Hasselblad camera, $74 US, and a leather case for it too. The case was $9.25 plus $3 postage. Dale had it mailed to Merle. This money should be paid us from the studio. Evelyn will owe us $77.50 US. Her pearls are exquisite. Our weather has been cloudy and cool our whole stay. March 29th. It rained this morning but is clearing now. Our flight leaves at 2:30. We started for the airport at 12:30. We have had a wonderful time. I don't think any place in the world can equal Hong Kong. Absolutely any item in the world can be bought here. The scenery is gorgeous too. On to Japan. We arrived in Osaka via Cathay Airline after 8 o'clock p.m. and cleared customs, and the guide from Fuji Tours was right there to meet us in a private car to bring us on to Kyoto. The plane ride from Hong Kong was a fast, rough one, not the weather, but the landing in Taipei and Osaka. The pilot gave us a real bonus in Taipei. The weather there was clear, and we had a wonderful view of the island, Taiwan. Then we got to Osaka. When we got to Osaka, we really had a landing. Dale says the pilot needs a depth perception test. They gave us cocktails before dinner, along with nuts and potato chips, a filet mignon dinner with fruit dessert, then a fruit basket, then a cheese and cracker tray, wine with our meal too. We got to bed by 10 o'clock p.m. It's nice to be back in Japan. Our ground speed on this Cathay flight was 660 miles per hour, according to the pilot's report. March 30th, Kyoto, Japan. We have had fun today. We started right out shopping in the shops in the hotel. Had some bronze pieces sent, a temple dog, 3 gold-leaved dancers, incense burner, 2 fish, and the antique vase. We then went to the factory where they make porcelains. We sent 3 damascene ashtrays and 3 porcelain bowls. We went to the big department store and sent the leather case to Merle. We also bought 2 pearl pins and 1 strand of freshwater pearls. We surely enjoyed walking down the little side streets, seeing the tiny shops and factories making everything. We also sent a pair of candlesticks to Bill and Barb. Our head waiter saved us a special table right next to the floor show. He has been extra nice. What a day. Excuse me. March 31, Kyoto. Cold, no rain. Again this morning after breakfast, we took a cab to the Cloisonne factory. What beautiful things. We sent Oliver and Terry a red ashtray with white storks. Also sent the bowl, gold-plated, with the history of old Kyoto in the figures in Cloisonne. We sent these to Ralph Corhart. We then walked through the fish and food market, up and down the narrow streets, everything clean, so Japanese. We stopped in the same little restaurant. Hot towels to wash, then excellent soup and tea. How wonderful to get warm. Dale and I both bought heavy socks to keep our feet warm while we tramped through the streets, seeing all kinds of sights. We just can't believe that a nation can live without central heat. We love every minute. The cherry trees are just beginning to bloom. Suntory whiskey is $1.94 a fifth, and it is very good. Saves our lives on these cold days. Our hotel has plenty of heat. We took a cab to one of the big temples this afternoon. A nice sight, but it began to rain, so we returned to the hotel at 4 o'clock p.m. We leave for Tokyo tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Tonight we are having sukiyaki sitting on the floor on the Japanese side of our hotel dining room. April 1st, 1966. Tokyo Imperial Hotel. JAL jet flight of 39 minutes. In Tokyo, when we sat down, it was raining and a strong wind really blowing cold as we walked a long way into the airport waiting room, where a man from Fuji Tours was waiting for us in a car with heater already going, and again we got the royal treatment. We checked in at the Imperial. Our room is a beauty. We had our lunch and started right out shopping in the Imperial Arcade. Things were expensive. Upon arrival, we had a letter from Catherine asking us for 2 strands of pearls, imitation, and a letter from Pink. We found beautiful Shelley pearls in one of the arcade shops. They looked so good to us that we sent Cat 2 strands and 3 for us airmail. Then we went to the street arcade, where we sent 8 steak knives and bought a record of Japanese folk songs. Listened to part of it, and it sounded good. When we got back to our room, Murphy had called, so we waited until Bill Snyder called again, and Dale invited them to come for cocktails and dinner on Saturday evening. We like the Imperial much better than the Hilton. It is centrally located, and the food is very good. A fine dance band played during dinner. It is good to be back in Tokyo. April 2nd, Tokyo. Dale called Fuji Tours and asked them to get afternoon tickets for the Kokosai Theater for today. Then we got a cab over to Tokyo Station, for we wanted to find the Gopher Kobachi Hotel, where we stayed in 1961. Dale's sense of direction is excellent, for after walking about 10 minutes we came right to it. There's a new Japanese hotel there, completed just before the Olympics in Tokyo. We got one of their folders, talked to the desk clerk, and thoroughly enjoyed seeing the place. We then went to the big department store where we shopped in 1961, bought 2 gold-leaved trays which we sent, also a bottle of Suntory whiskey for $1.30 US, so we could have drinks when Bill and Murphy came. I never saw so many good things to eat as in this food department. We couldn't resist peanuts, crackers, etc., and had fun. The stage show was very good. We didn't get quite the kick out of it that we did the first time, though. We got back to the hotel in time for a bath before Bill and Murphy arrived. Had such a good visit with them, a fine dinner. They got such a kick out of the dance band. This has been fun. Murphy brought us a shadow box doll that she had made. They left at 9:30, for they have a 2-hour ride to get to their home. April 3rd, Nico trip. We got down to the lobby at 7:30 a.m. to join the tour for Nico. First, we got a first-class train ride 105 minutes to Nico. Visited a small shrine where we saw the bell and sword dance by 2 girls in the temple. Drank some sacred sake, then took the bus up the new toll road up the mountain to Lake Chuenzi. The mountains were snow-covered, and the farmlands on the train trip were so lovely. The cherry trees are blooming, and everywhere are rice paddies and strawberry beds. Farmers really keep their fields beautifully, just perfect. Before we got to the lake, we stopped at Kegon Waterfalls, one of the most outstanding falls in Japan. We took an elevator to the bottom of the falls. We had our lunch at Lakeside Hotel, where we stayed in 1961. Dale visited with the old gentleman whose father had built this hotel 72 years ago, and he said he remembered Dale. He's planning to build a new hotel, but will keep the old one intact in memory of his father. He told us the original hotel had cost 18,000 yen. Only a footpath brought visitors into the hotel in the 1890s. We had a brake test before we started down the 28 hairpin turn mountain road. Scenery gorgeous. Back in Nikko, we visited the Toshuga Shrine, simply beautiful, where the carving of the 3 monkeys, see no evil, say no evil, and hear no evil, is on the fresco of the horse barn of this temple. To me, this Toshuga Shrine is Japan's most beautiful. A fine day. April 3rd. It was raining when we left Tokyo. After our flight of 6 hours, 20 minutes, at 630 miles per hour and 37,000 feet, we arrived in Honolulu at 9:20 p.m. On our takeoff in Tokyo, we saw at the end of the runway the wreckage of the Canadian 727 airliner that hit the brake wall. He came in too short, flipped over and burned, killing all on board. All of the burned parts were laying out in a roped-off area for anyone to see. This happened about 2 weeks before we arrived in Tokyo. We gain 1 day on this flight but lose 5 hours. By Honolulu time, it is now 25 minutes after 8. We will land at 9:10, having gained 10 minutes over the estimated time. This has been one of the smoothest rides we have had on our trip. After we got above the overcast at Tokyo, the sun has been shining all the way. It got dark about 15 minutes ago and the stars are out. This whole trip has been the best one we have ever had. Really tremendous. It is a pleasure to travel with Dale. A girl was at the airport with a private car to meet us. We cleared customs with no trouble. The inspector was very nice. We listed the items separately, amounting to $245. This included the clamshell, $20, that Dale had sent from Suva. The Royal Hawaiian had our room all ready for us. We aren't sleepy, though, for it is only 6 o'clock by Tokyo time, so we looked in the shop windows in the hotel. April 4th, 1966, en route to Los Angeles. JAL, 560 miles per hour, flying time of 4 hours and 20 minutes. We lose 2 hours on this trip, took off at 11:15 a.m. We had a fine flight from Honolulu, fine food, not too many passengers, free cocktails before dinner. You couldn't ask for more. As we walked in the airport at Los Angeles, one of the airline men handed Dale a note. We were to call Tommy Zuck. He wanted us to come to Santa Ana for the night, but our reservation at the International Hotel right at the airport was confirmed and paid for, so we asked them to come up and see us. Our flight out in the morning is at 8:15 a.m. Tom, Teddy, Mary Jane, and Tommy came at 8:15 and we visited until 10:30. It was so nice to see them. Everyone is okay at their house and they're getting ready for a busy time at the flower shops as Easter is next Sunday. April 5th, 1966. 60 degrees in Los Angeles. Astrojet flight, American Airlines. Right on schedule, our flight departed. Weather clear except for a slight smog. This flight stops in Dallas and Nashville. We are first class, good seats, and the pilot is great. He must be at least 60. Tells us a great many things during the flight, what we are passing over, etc. We even had linen tablecloths when the hostesses served our lunch. The one hostess is from Kenton, Ohio. We had quite a visit with her. We should be in Columbus, Ohio in another 25 minutes yet. What a fine trip this has been. The best one yet. Lenore, Zuck, Hughes. Now we have 3 comments on this publication. The first is from John S. Ray, my father. Quote, "What a fantastic trip, one which very few people have been privileged to take. We have visited some of the places which Lenore describes, and her account of those places brings back many pleasant memories. I very much enjoyed reading about the many beautiful places they visited, particularly her description of the South Island of New Zealand. I especially enjoyed one line on page 23. It is a pleasure to travel with Dale. What a nice thing for Lenore to say. A superb trip, a wonderful couple. John S. Ray, Rocky River, Ohio." And the next letter is from Alice Garcia Ray. Quote, "I received the ZFMC Volume 16 that you sent, and I'd like you to know that I was impressed, and my admiration can't really be said in so many words. Traveling really is such an educational experience. On behalf of my co-teachers here and some of our students at Restless Educational Center who are also enjoying reading the ZFMC, maraming salamat. Alice Garcia Ni Ray, Quezon City, Philippines. And the next letter is from Lenore Zuck Hughes herself. Quote, "Thank you so much for sending us all the things you have published. We've enjoyed having each one. Somehow, the older we get, the more prized these glimpses of our family become. I really think you have all the material you would need to write a very interesting book, and you could do it, I know. A family biography of the Zucks." We had such a nice note from Joan Ray saying she liked our diary on the South Pacific. Dale and Lenore Hughes, Fort Myers, Florida. So that concludes today's presentation. Lenore Zuck Hughes, 1966, Pacific Ocean Islands Vacation Diary Part 3. Good luck to you in your efforts in family history. If this interests you, finding, preserving, and sharing old letters, diaries, and photographs, and interviewing elderly relatives while they're alive, you might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History with Peter J. Ray at peterjray.com. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.